Welcome to Mating Matters. I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh with producer Brooke Peterson. Yes, my voice is back this week. I had a heck of a week. I did this long breast cancer walk with a sore throat, and then I got a flu, and we got a quickie for you this week. You know, over the course of evolution, our relationships have largely depended on our relationship skills, being able to not only attract a mate, but keep a mate. And in keeping with that theme of how to keep a mate, I have put together my top 10 list of tips, modern day relationship tips for how to have a healthy relationship. So if you've been listening to my show for a while, you know that I have a PhD in clinical psychology. We are really wired to reproduce. And so much of our psyche, our personality development has to do with the kind of attachments we have in life. We are wired to bond. And from the very beginning of life, our early relationships with our primary caregivers often become blueprints for love that we carry into the rest of our life. Then we end up in our adult romantic lives, sometimes confused, sometimes feeling like we're walking through a tunnel without a flashlight, and thinking, well, if I could just find the right person, then everything would be okay in a relationship. Let me tell you this. Love relationships are far more about skill than luck. And finding the right person means finding the good partner in yourself, right? So I'd like to go through my top 10 tips for having healthier relationships. This is Dr. Wendy's prescription for healthy love. Rule number 1, love yourself first. Now, when I say that, some people think, oh, well, that sounds so selfish. The people who actually love themselves, though, don't brag, don't boast, don't act bigger than life because they're all into themselves. They're actually very selfless because they have a quiet contentment. They have a quiet self-confidence. So part of loving yourself is also forgiving yourself. We all grow. We've all made mistakes in life. Nobody's perfect. Although I will say, if you feel guilty for anything you did in your childhood, I'm here to pull you off that guilt train. There are no bad children. There are only misunderstood children. And stuff was done to you, and you responded in a certain way. So, rule number 1, forgive yourself and learn to accept who you are before you enter into a relationship. Okay, rule number 2. Despite what you may think about it begins with a date and then it becomes boyfriend and girlfriend and then maybe it becomes living together and then it becomes marriage and then it becomes a baby, blah, 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 blah. There are no rules anymore. There's no order of events anymore. You define what works for you in a relationship. You set the pace of sexual contact, and you set the definition. We have now entered the no rules relationship revolution. Much like our anthropological ancestors, people might spend a long time assessing a partner. They might date a number of people at once. Now, it's a good idea to be honest with them. It's a good idea to not be in multiple sexual relationships unless you're using protection, and you want to make sure that you respect everybody you're involved with. That's all important. But there's no rules. You do it your way when you're ready. And communicate to people what your definition of a relationship is. Okay, number 3. If you keep saying, I keep meeting the wrong person, I meet bad boys, or I meet crazy chicks, I don't know what it is, I'm always meeting the worst ones. You know, there's a common denominator in all of your relationships, and it's you. So rule number 3 is learn to move away from people who hurt you. Those who have a secure attachment style aren't just lucky in love because they seem to meet the right person. They actually move away from those that show their colors early on. The red flags that get waved, they go, not going there. Learn to do that. Move away from people who hurt. Gravitate towards those that help you feel better. Rule number 4 for having a healthy love life, learn to communicate your feelings. You know, When I had a private practice and patients would come in, I felt that at the beginning, my job was often just emotional literacy. I would have to literally teach people a vocabulary for their feelings. They were so untrained in learning how to express their feelings. People are so afraid to say, I felt afraid, lost, abandoned, sad, happy, euphoric, surprised, irritated, frustrated. It goes on and on and on. There are many, many, many words for feelings. Look them up if you need to. But if you're going to be in a relationship, you better learn to use those words and own your feelings. Become self-aware of your feelings and learn how to speak them to others. Instead of blaming others for making you feel a certain way, nobody can make you feel this way. This is who you are and this is what you're feeling. No judgment, but learn to express it. Rule number 5 for having a healthy love life: intimacy needs at least 20 minutes a day. What that means is when you get into a long-term love relationship, people often go on automatic pilot. They just do the schedule, they do the routine, and they don't stop to cut out everything else like they did on a first date and stare longingly into the eyes of the person they love or say, no, seriously, how are you doing? Not just how was your day, but what do you want in life? What are your goals? Are we on the right track together? Are you okay? What can I do to support you? How can I help you? What do you need? You need to spend 20 minutes a day with no technology, no conversation about you're going here, you're going to pick up the kids. Great. I'll see you at 5. We'll meet you at the other. No. Just literally checking in with the person you love. Rule number 6 for a healthy relationship: learn to make a communication sandwich. A communication sandwich is very simple. It starts with a layer of love, followed by a layer of something hard to chew on, and it's backed up with another layer of love. This keeps the person from getting defensive and can actually hear your gentle criticism. So it might be like, hey, dude, I fell in love with you because you're so ambitious and I love your ambition and that you work so hard. But the kids are saying that you're never at their games and they're kind of missing you. And hey, you're so hot. I want to show you off. Can you show up at the next football game? Because I want those other moms at school to know I got a great man. Listen to that. Instead of, you're always working all the time. Why are you never coming to the kids' sports things? Right? Make a communication sandwich. Number 7, and there's science to back this up. Hug for at least 20 seconds and do it at least twice a day. Did you know it takes 20 seconds of hugging someone to release enough dopamine and oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, that creates bonding and feelings of well-being? So if you're doing the quick peck on the cheek, run out the door in the morning, it's not cutting it. Your bodies need to continue to communicate. Number 8, on the same note, hold hands, kiss, cuddle, touch toes in bed. Don't have 2 armchairs when you're watching television together. Snuggle together on the couch. You need to have touch, and not just in private. Public displays of affection are so important. There was research done where they looked at couples saying goodbye at the airport, and they were observed, and recorders recorded how much public displays of affection the couple had. And then they went up and asked the couple how long they'd been together. Surprise, surprise. The longer the couple had been together, the less likely they were to touch. This is not good for long-term relationships. Number 9, fight fair. Okay, what does fighting fair mean? Especially if you grew up in a family that either didn't fight or hid all their fighting behind closed doors, so you weren't able to see it and understand it, or they fought in a very unhealthy way. Fighting fair means establishing some ground rules ahead of time. If the ground rules might be, hey, if I feel like I'm really going to lose it, I'm going to hit someone, then I have the right to walk out of the room or go for a walk, or never fight. You know that stupid saying, never go to bed angry. No. Go to bed and get a good night's sleep and work it out in the morning. There's nothing worse than staying up fighting drunk till 2 a.m. That's insane. So get a good night's sleep and then fight. So set up some ground rules. But one rule about fighting is don't ever allow any stonewalling. That's the silent treatment, the cold shoulder, where you're walking around on eggshells wondering why the person's still mad and waiting for it to blow over. Well, it doesn't blow over. It just builds up. And the person who's been dismissed, the person who's not being heard, I promise you will eventually find somebody who will listen to them, and that person will be a lover or a lawyer. Trust me. Okay, Number 10, rule for having a healthy, fabulous love life. Compliment your partner every day, not for their ego, to remind you why you fell in love with that person. Every day, find something good about your partner and tell them so. It will remind you why you fell in love, and it will help keep you in love. And that brings our episode of Mating Matters to a close. Now, I want you to go and find your partner, or whoever you're dating or mating with right now, and pay them a compliment. Remind yourself why you're there. Coming up in the next few weeks, we've got an episode on slow love, a new phenomenon in relationships called the pre-commitment phase. We're going to talk to Dr. Helen Fisher of the Kinsey Institute about that one. Also, the science of humor and why we evolved to be funny people. Hint, it has a lot to do with human mating strategy. And finally, we're working on an episode about genetic sexual attraction. Yeah, it's what it sounds like. But something has happened in our modern environment to cause a blip in Mother Nature's boundary against sibling sex. Hold your seats tight for this one. Mating Matters is co-produced with iHeartMedia. It is produced, researched, and written by me, Dr. Wendy Walsh, and it is edited and produced by Brooke Peterson. You can follow us on social media at Dr. Wendy Walsh. Please share this podcast with a friend. It's the only way that people find out about podcasts. So please tell somebody about it if you liked what you heard. And don't forget to write a review. It makes a big difference, and it's really good karma. If you'd like to call our Mating Matters hotline, you can call at any time with a question or a comment. Please know, if we like what we hear, we'll either call you back or use what's been recorded. The phone number is, get a pen, do you have it? 323-207-8277. Producer Brooke Peterson and myself love to hear from you, so give us a call.